Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Victory Monday on the Unfiltered Truth. I am your host, Phil Robinson, flying solo for now. I'm going to be joined later on by one of my Raiders Weekly co-hosts, Willie Epting, and we're going to go over the game, talk about all of the key points and more. So for now, I'm just going to hang out with you guys, talk, see what's going on. Till Willie shows up, then we'll get into it. All that and more on today's episode of Victory Monday. Just start the show off properly with a hearty Raiders! Woo! Big time victory, 38-20. Raiders over the Houston Texans. Defense locked in, found a way to get it done when they were giving up some yards. We got to give Houston their props. A lot of people overlook Houston because of their record. They're 1-3-1. They don't have a name at QB. They don't have this. They don't have that. Houston is a lot better than people are giving them credit for. Said that Dameon Pierce is legit. I don't know if you watched, if you really got to look at what he was able to do, how he hits the hole quickly, runs with power. He's fast, slides off, excellent feet, good vision. He's a good little back. He's not going to go anywhere. They're running a basic old school offense, and they're running it well. So it's not about what he can and can't do. It's just basically that he's just good. And Davis Mills is a professional quarterback. And what I mean by that is he'll make his reads, he'll make his throws. It may not be flashy, but he's on time with the football, and it gets to where it needs to be. What we continue to see and what the stats show is that teams are attacking the Raiders' soft zone. And usually when they play in cover 3, they're playing 7 yards off the ball, which oddly enough is the average depth of target for opponents against the Raiders. They're only throwing 7-yard throws, usually right behind 2 yards behind where the linebackers were when they started to play, and right in front of the defensive backs that are off in zone. Another one of the things that I look at that I've seen that continue to plague me as I was watching the game earlier on the condensed replay is being in the pocket and not putting your hands on the wide receiver. Now, we saw in the offseason how completely jacked Rock Ya-Sin looked. Why is he on the line of scrimmage and not jamming receivers? That's insane to me. They just don't do it. And that's more or less where they're getting exposed, is all the free yardage that they're giving other teams. Let's hit these comments, see what's going on. No, Phil is at work, so I got a guest coming on, and he's in a meeting right now, so I'm just kind of hanging out, waiting for him to show up. But we're just doing him. Shout out to Jones. But I appreciate your permission there, Vegas Raiders. And we went ahead and we knocked that out just for you. Just win, baby. Best name in YouTube, milk a breezy like cereal. Still don't know what that means, but I like it. Just one baby. Jacobs is the Raiders' offensive juggernaut. He absolutely is. Let me say, I've said it. I don't know if I did say it, but I'll say it now. Let me give that man his apology. I said that we needed to trade you, and I was wrong. I was wrong. Say you have come in this season, been a difference maker. You've been a leader on and off the field, and it's not just this season. It's gone back to last season that I was hearing it. That he's out there making things happen. He's holding guys accountable. He's working. He's working with the line that he's being the guy that guys respect and they want and pushes them to be better. Him and Max have been those two, the guys for offense and defense, and that just warms the cockles of my heart. Hey JJ28, give Josh Jacobs his money. In the interview that Dave Ziegler did with JT the Brick, said when it came time to talk about Josh Jacobs, the thing that just tipped me off was JT said Josh Jacobs' name, and this was Dave Ziegler's immediate reaction. I was like, right off the bat, I was like, he's paying him. He's paying him. Now, word around the campfire is that Josh has got to put a couple more games together to remain healthy to get this deal. But initially, it was a short-term deal, and I think with the way that he's going, with the way that he's running, and the way that he's avoiding contact, I think that that's probably the largest part of what's going on that we're not really focusing on is how well he's avoiding contact. He's making guys miss in the backfield. He's making guys miss in the open field. He's getting to the sidelines. So he's rolling off guys. He's not taking direct hits. He is doing since week 3. Josh Jacobs has been the best back in football. Period, bar none. Nobody is running the football better than he is. And remember, he's not the fastest guy in the world. Some of these 10-yard runs, if he had another step, would be touchdowns. He is playing on a completely different level right now. It's crazy. It's crazy. I'm very pleased with what we've seen. Very, very pleased with what we've seen and hope that we can see it for the remainder of the year. So JJ said, oh, you ain't paying me. Hold my beer. Oh, you drafted a running back? No, you drafted 2 running backs, brought in an undrafted guy, traded for what? Did they trade for one and signed? Both of them they signed in the offseason. You brought 7 guys on the roster, huh? That's cool. None of them are going to play. None of them are taking a handoff with me. Why? Because I'm Josh Jacobs, and I'm better than them. That's what he's been doing. I mean, it's been night and day. In that same interview, going back to what I was saying earlier about the interview with Ziegler and JT the Brick, you really should check it out. It's on YouTube. If I had a moderator, I'd put it in the link, but I don't. So go look it up. Ziegler and YouTube. It'll be the first one that comes up. He mentioned that the Raiders had found their identity in the last 3 weeks. And they have. But it's not the identity that they thought they were going to be initially. It's the identity of what suits the team and what the team does best, and it changes. And because of that, you've seen the running game take over. And the passing game has been an afterthought. Yes, you've seen some economic throws. You've seen some timely touchdowns, and that's really all that they need to do to continue to win. It is a patented, tried and true style, and they're killing it. Jesus. Last 2 weeks, Josh Jacobs is averaging over 7 yards a carry. It says 7.15 this week. 7.33 the week before, 5.14 against Denver, 5.08 against Tennessee, for 5.7 against the Chargers. For this man has been a one-man wrecking crew, straight up. What's happening? Said Chanceworthy was good. All love and respect. That's what it is. That's what it is. All love and respect right here with me. I can't say nothing about everybody, but that's what I do. But it's and the craziest part about it is the Raiders still haven't played their best football yet. Still not even close. This is the style that they need to stick with. They need to continue to feature the running attack, base everything that they do off of that because their big, huge offensive line is just mauling teams right now. Teams are not ready to commit to what they have in terms of pressure versus the offensive, the receivers. They want to try to double everybody and whatnot. And until the Raiders run them out of it, they're going to keep doing it. So that's going to be the answer to the adjustments that are being made against them. You're going to have to power the football, use that big offensive line to just push people and run them down and wear them down. And you'll continue to see outpourings like the ones that you've been seeing. And running the football is like investing in a retirement account. Said the initial investments don't amount to much, but in the end, it's going to pay off in a major way when the other team is tired, when they've been getting pushed around all day, and suddenly guys are just out of position, not engaged in tackling, and you're just taking it to them. So Nick 209 says winter is coming. Running the football should help Raiders get some wins. It's been a long, tried and true tradition since the beginning of football, Nick. If you can run the football, you can win. All you need is defense and a rushing attack. Both of them travel. The DBs and linebackers, the DT would be nice too. Hope the rookie DT step up. Listen, your defensive tackles are showing up big time in the run game. There needs to be more pressure in terms of the pass rush, especially up the middle, collapsing the pocket. I'll be the first to tell you that there needs to be a top tier talent that is addressed at that position. And linebacker is another one. They need to get guys who are capable of doing what it is that it takes to be successful at this level. And they need linebackers who can cover, linebackers who can get sideline to sideline a little faster than what they have going on right now. Denzel Perriman is excellent. Debo is great in the run, and in his run gaps, he is amazing. But his pass coverage continues to be a source of contention. Jayon Brown is an excellent blitzer, but they don't blitz him enough. He's good in pass coverage, but he's not been the best. But those are your two positions on defense that I would say, a defensive tackle especially, that if you can get a game-changing talent or a first-round guy that is an amazing talent, that can turn the whole scope of your defense like that. Just that fast. Think about what this team could look like with Max, Chandler Jones, Malcolm Kuntz, or any other guy that you draft, with Chris Jones in the middle, or an Aaron Donald in the middle, or a Fletcher Cox or a Jordan Davis right in the middle of that defensive line. All of a sudden, this defense goes from being an average to good to a great defense. How's Blake Martinez been? Has he been able to help? So Blake is shaking off the rust. Blake is getting readjusted to game speed. I'm not going to judge him as of yet. I've watched him be on the field and make contributions. I've watched him get shaken out his draws and have to assist on a tackle that he should have made. Is probably as kind as I can be, but he's generally in the right position. He's just not finishing every play. Solid addition. Question is, with Carolina winning and being a game out of first place, if you can believe that. They are a game out of first place in the NFC South at 2-5, I believe, with PJ Walker at quarterback, no C-Mac, no Robbie Anderson. Now the question is, was this one of those pride games that you play because the star said he just couldn't win with you guys and you guys were the problem, that you won and with him gone, and then they don't win another game? That remains to be seen. But they're a game out of first place, and they may not be interested in a fire sale anymore. They got a shit ton of picks from the Niners, so they don't really need any more. Said any players you would like the Raiders to pursue, teams to do business with. Listen, let's not get ahead of ourselves either. They're 2-5, 2-4, excuse me. They could very easily, 3 more games, and this season could be practically over. They also they could be set to go on a run. I believe that because they found a method to winning that is more conducive to their team, that they will continue to do so. It's a lot of fancy term for run the fucking ball and you'll be all right and you'll keep winning. They've got enough back so that if, God heaven forbid, not even going to put that out there, but they have enough backs to continue the rushing attack no matter what. So I feel that using the offensive line in the method that it's best with will be what they should do, with how they're going to be able to best continue to win games, manage the clock, keep their defense off the field, use them sparingly, and keep opponent scores down. That's complementary football and what we've been calling for the longest. It would be excellent, but I don't think that you need him. I think that you can deploy Malcolm Kuntz in a better way, or stop having Chandler Jones mush rush and start freeing him to do what it is that he's done. That would be the way that I would go about it. But Chandler Jones' contract is going to be one that is not going to be able to get around unless somebody takes it. Abram has got to go or stay on the bench. Special teams, Harmon took his job. They're running a 4-2-5. Said Abram's responsibilities are different. Ideally, you would want Harmon to be back there and Abram to be in the box. So he hasn't taken his job. In fact, he's made it possible so that Abram can stay in a position where he's doing what he does, and you're not hearing his name being called unless he's making a tackle. He's not giving up major plays. Everybody's on this kick about Abram. Abram has been solid. There's been little to nothing wrong with what he's done. Has he been in position to make every play like a superstar? No. But he's making tackles. He's blitzing. His blitzing has been much better. And you're not asking him to cover deep in the middle of the field. Now, he's done it at times, and even when he's managed to do it, he's done it well enough to not give up the deep ball. So, I mean, give that man his flowers, give that man a break. He's earned what he's earned. So is it enough to get another deal? I still think you could get better, or you could get better at that position. But as a low-cost option, it's working. Raiders got to bring in the pain? Absolutely. Absolutely. Happy Victory Day to you too, Kevin. Said it's a wonderful time to get on here and know that the Chargers lost, the Niners lost, said the Cowboys lost last week or earlier this week, whatever. I think that was Thursday. It said it's all good. It's all good. What else we got up here? Okay. Oh, we're still 20 minutes strong, waiting on Willie. Willie going. Well, anyway, how's Morig been? Morig. So I was having that conversation with, I believe it was the homeboy Cave, Morrig is being asked to do different things. And so, again, nobody's going over the top of the Raiders. You've seen it happen maybe sparingly, maybe once or twice here and there every couple games. Most notably, you remember him in the Kansas City game trying to double Travis Kelce. I mean, let's call it what it is. Morrig is vertically challenged. If you're asking him to try to guard a 6'5" tight end who's got maybe close to 80, 70 pounds on him, I mean, there's only so much that he's going to be able to do. And if you recall that performance, Travis Kelce had 4 touchdowns, and that's all anybody's going to look at. He also had 25 yards on 7 catches. That's unheard of. That was an NFL record. Raiders still in on William Jackson, the third, I believe, not the second. Who knows? Could be, could not be. I don't think that they need average. So it's easy to look at this game and say that the Raiders DBs were bad because they give up 7 yards to the offense every play to begin the play right off the bat. Then when they are in man, they do. So I was going to wait for Willie to show up, but we're rolling strong here, and I'm ready to go. So they bring up the guys to the line of scrimmage, and then in the pocket press position, and then use the mirror technique. And so they don't reach a hand out. They don't do anything to reroute the receiver. They just stand in front of them. And I got to tell you that as good, this is the NFL, and yes, that's a technique, and you got to get a hand on a guy to reroute him, to disrupt his timing. Otherwise, you're going to get nickel and dime to death. And then when they do it with larger receivers, which is how Houston was getting the majority of their passing offense rolling with Nico Collins, because you get those 6'4", 6'5" receivers or bigger, then they're in a position where they can't stop the guy. How are you going to stop a guy that much bigger than you if you can't touch him and you're just following where he's going? At that point, you're not even really playing defense. That's some old two-hand touch type shit to keep it 100. So they just really need to ride this out. And this is a good 4 game. If ever there was a time for a guy like Nate Hobbs to get hurt, this is a good 4 game stretch where they are all winnable games without him. They don't need him they don't necessarily need the passing defense to be top notch or to do anything special. They don't need to have a guy who's capable of shutting down a top guy, because they're not really going to face one until maybe the Saints week after next, or excuse me, I guess that'd be this week, wouldn't it? But I mean, Andy Dalton, all they really need to do is get to Andy Dalton and stop Alvin Kamara. Hey, what can I say? Whenever you think of the best rated content period, make sure you think of me. So that's where we're at. A lot of what the Raiders' defensive woes come down to is situational football. Third down conversion. Once again, gave up 60% of third down conversions, 50% of the fourth down conversions. That is what's killing them, is simply not getting off the field. They got to be that in the red zone. In a nutshell, that's what it is. Third downs, fourth downs, red zone defense. So the rest of the yardage is relatively low, or average with the league. It's just the red zone defense and third down and third down conversion. 60% is too damn high. It wasn't a heavily penalized game either. It was just on third downs when they should third and longs, third and short, third and mediums. Didn't matter. They got to get off the field. We won't know yet. We won't know yet. We got to wait for Wednesday to see what the injury report is. I believe Dalton did get hurt, but we'll see. Defense this week's focus is on 41. Defense's focus needs to be on Taysom Hill. The run defense has yet to allow a 100-yard rusher. Damian Pierce came the closest at 92, but they have yet to allow a 100-yard rusher. I believe Davis Mills was the first quarterback this season to break 300 yards against the Raiders' passing defense. But Taysom Hill is the New Orleans Saints' secret weapon and the guy that does a little bit of everything and moves around, and they set him up as a way to stress the rules of the defense and make them and make them play in a way that they're not used to playing. So he's going to be, especially for this particular style of defense, the most dangerous guy on the field for them. The way that they've been deploying Alvin Kamara is pretty much a more basic way of doing it, and they don't use him half as many capacities as Sean Payton was able to. So he's a dog. He can play. Not knocking him, but the difference to this game will be if they can keep Taysom Hill out of the end zone, they'll win this game going away. Because every time Taysom Hill scores a touchdown, they end up winning. Yeah, it's not so much as a bend don't break defense, because I like to say that they always get off the field late in games when they have to. It takes them a while to make adjustments, and they've played some great teams. And let's not act like they haven't. Every team that they played so far, with the exception of Denver and Houston, are in the top 7 in the conference. So they're playing good teams, and they played good games. They just didn't execute. Salute. Yeah, Thursday night when Hill took snaps, he mainly ran off the guard's hips and pushed the pile. And then if you don't get to him, he'll roll off that pile and then suddenly have a whole bunch of space and is fast enough to get away from everybody. So that's the type of stuff that you could put on tape and lull somebody off to sleep, or come with. You could line them up at tight end or split them out and do all kinds of things with them. So it's going to be, for Taysom Hill, it's going to be very important for Denzel Perryman to continue to body him up and put his body on him every time he can. Hit that man early, often, and repeatedly. Looks like the O-line is on time. Who's O-line? I've been telling you guys about the O-line for a while now. Nobody wanted to listen to me. All I hear is how bad they are, how much they can't pass protect, how well they're not doing. Josh Jacobs was, hold on, I have the tweet. I tweeted it out yesterday as a retweet because it was insanity to me. But the numbers he was putting up before contact, so I think Q had the best tweet to describe Jacobs' performance when talking about great things happen when JJ touches the ball, and great things continue to happen with him touching the ball. Let's see. Keep going. Yeah. Oh, wow. That was good. Actually, I was almost dead on. 25 carries, 148 yards, 2 touchdowns is what I predicted for that game. 20 carries, 144 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Let's see where it was. Well, here we go. So it was Paul Gutierrez's tweet. Raiders running back Josh Jacobs has 113 yards before contact. The first time in his career with more than 85 such yards per ESPN stats info. Credit the O-line. So when your offensive line is getting your running back 113 yards before contact, what more can you ask for? What more can you ask for? What are your thoughts on Thayer Munford's play so far? My thoughts are this. Thayer Munford has played, came into Ohio State and has played against Nick Bosa. It may have caught Nick Bosa. If he didn't, he played against Chase, the old boy from Washington, Chase. And then we remember him getting blasted on that play by Aiden Hutchinson, that one play against Michigan, but he played against them for the rest of the game. So he's used to playing against premier talent. He's used to seeing the best that there is. He's played against Micah Parsons. He's played against all of those guys from the Big Ten. So the speed of the game, the caliber of the players aren't too much for him. It's just getting his footwork down, learning his assignment. And there are some ups and downs to being a young player, but he's got the body for it. He's played some emergency tight end. I've been really pleased with what I've seen from him. I think that Munford, that Illuminor should be benched. No, I don't think that he should be benched. But pretty soon there's going to be less and less reasons to take Thayer Munford off of the field. So rookies have been doing well. Ziegler was very pleased with the effort that he's getting from his rookies. And anytime you can get good offensive line play on cheap rookie deals, you are winning the game of football. And these guys are out here playing. And when we talk about the right tackle situation, we also got to sit back and look at what's going to happen with Brandon Parker if and when he can come back. Said, remember after week 3, they were saying that teams they lost to were 0-6 outside their wins against Raiders. And said the Chargers just lost to Seattle. What's your point? For all the Wonder Team Super Bowl champions that they were supposed to be, they're sitting at what, 3-4, or 3-2, 3-3, 4-3, excuse me. Look that up. I need to have bad knowledge. Yeah, 4-3. They're a game behind. They're a game behind the Chiefs. We are right behind them. We play them again. It is what it is. I'm not overly worried about it. It's going to be what it is. The Chargers should have lost that game. The Chiefs should have lost that game that we played against them. And I got a feeling that the Raiders are going to end up beating both of them at the end of the year, because I just don't see how anybody's going to beat the Raiders if they continue to play this style of ball. They'll have to play a defensive line that's just dominant against the run, and right now you're not seeing too many of those. I'm concerned about our cornerback depth. Averett was getting cooked yesterday, and although Amik is a ball hawk, I can't trust him to cover tall receivers. Listen, Brody, when you don't draft guys that are 6'2", and when you get rid of them in the offseason, that's the price that you pay, and that's what you gotta work with. Amik has been playing much better ball. Uh, the one play that you did see him really involved in, he said that was the effect of Trayvon Moring, because had that ball been placed where it was supposed to be, where it could have been to lead the receiver, it would have been led right into the free safety. Instead, the quarterback put the ball behind him to try to minimize the receiver from taking an unnecessary shot to his dome, which it would be nice if our quarterback would do the same for our players. But that gave Amik an opportunity to get his hands on the football and to continue to be where he wants to be, to make plays. He's gonna have to come up with that football. But short of that, you've got all your corners are 5'10" or shorter, except for Nate Hobbs. Oh, it's good, Dre. That's why we got the replay. What else we got? Prez. Now let's go to Wes. Wes had some. That one, car mobility in the pocket is a plus. Two, Josh Jacobs bully ball. Three, defense play call worries me if a second year player can shred us, or is it the players? Uh, one, car's mobility has always been a plus. Problem is he doesn't always utilize it. It was much better after he got put on his after he got put down, and what had to have been probably the nicest QB tackle that we've seen in a while. But he got back, and it looked like he was going to get himself together until he promptly put the fumble to snap and ended up laying down on that pass on that play. So for a second, it looked like we were about to go out the back door again to Houston, but they got it under control and they started handing the ball off and started running play action, and then he was able to get into a groove and do his thing. And I prefer this style of play from him, staying within the offense, keeping everybody on schedule, keep making the plays that are there, and not trying to do too much. Josh Jacobs right now, as we speak, is clearly the guy. He's running for 7 yards per carry in back-to-back weeks. This is amazing football that you're seeing. And I really can't stress that enough, that Josh Jacobs is out here practically on the verge of doing something special. Like this is the tip of the iceberg. Should he continue to let's do the math on what this is. Should he continue to keep going at the rate that he's going, because he's 6 games in. 6 games in and 633 yards and 6 touchdowns already. And we still got a whole nother with the bye. This is week 7. So there is 10 more games that he has to go. Said he could very easily be looking at 1,500 plus yards and close to 15 touchdowns. Very easily. Especially at the rate that he's going now. Now, as for number 3, said people continue to disrespect Davis Mills. I'm telling you, if you go back and watch the game, just go back and watch the game, look at the defense, and you tell me what mistake he made that was there for the defense to capitalize on. You find me a mistake that he made, and I'll gladly put it up, and we'll look at it, and we'll criticize him for it, tell them that they need to be better, tell them that they can't do this stuff, that they can't be letting this second-year quarterback expose them. So he was on it. He was on it. The touchdown that he threw threaded the needle in a cover 2, cover 6 type situation and got in between the corner and the safety. The timing on it was perfect. If it was a split second later, that pass doesn't get through and get completed. I mean, there were a lot of good. Houston played a lot of good football. Said don't get it. Don't let the record confuse you. They played good football, solid, sound football. But eventually, talent took over, and that's how the Raiders were able to open up the gap from a game that was close all day, all game long, to finishing it, winning by 18, going away in the last 15 minutes of the game. How did we get Mac Hollins again? He was a free agent, came from Miami. I said that dude has been incredible, and for as good as he's been, as much work as you've seen him put in so far, he still could be getting the ball more and in more and better situations where he's able to do more with it. Now he's dropped a pass or two as well, but when you see him make a play, it's just like what he's little Brian, the defender. All righty, we got our guy Willie finally making it to the program. So Willie is my co-host from one of my co-hosts from the Raiders Weekly. The other one is Stephen Michaels of the Raiders Daily. But so without further ado, the fabulous sweet Willie.
Yeah.
Willie.
Man, what is going on out there, Raider Nation? We should be feeling pretty good about ourselves today, huh?
I do.
I apologize, man, for my tardiness. We have to find a way, ladies and gentlemen, and all supporters of hashtag Raider Nation. We need to get a fund or a something going to where Phil and I can fire corporate America.
I'm all for it. Hold on. I think we had something for that. Yeah, we got this right here. Need to open your hearts and give generously to the ME Foundation.
Yes. I mean, you know what's funny, man, and I know you've been talking a lot about what happened yesterday, and it's all gravy, and I do want to give my couple cents. But it's funny because I had a meeting with somebody else earlier about producing a podcast, and I was telling them the same thing. He's actually an agent. And he has a couple people on his staff, or that he represents. I think he represents Alvin Kamara and a couple other prominent people out there. But I was telling him the same thing: is that I'm this full-time job. I'm seeing it now has really started to begin to get in the way of a lot of dreams that I'm trying to accomplish, and it's really, really frustrating having to go from a boss to an employee, and an employee back to a boss. I mean, it's getting harder and harder for me to turn it on and turn it off, bro. And I'm not begging y'all, but I'm kind of begging because this is not for me.
Corporate America.
Yeah, corporate America.
No, it's not for me either. But I try to make it work as best I can with the means that we got, and yes, need to put out more content in order to receive more generosity. But I tell you, it sure would help and allow it to be able to do that, and not have to worry about going to punch a clock for somebody else's riches. I can focus on my own.
Mm-hmm.
But absolutely, whatever said, if you want to, please. You see my Cash App down there. Willie does what he does. He'll tell you where to donate to him. But Raiders Weekly, we got to make this a show that can blow up, so that we can do this and bring this to you full time, so that we can bring you the best content, all of the info, tell you everything that you need to know, and some of the stuff you don't.
And some of the stuff that you want to know, and a lot of it that you don't, because you just never know with our Raiders. But yesterday seemed like to be a nice building block. I know it was the Texans, but the Texans played well. The Texans played hard, and the Texans have been playing like that all year. So let's not really discount this victory just because it was the Texans. That defense is real. Lovie Smith is known for his defensive prowess. And Davis Mills, the quarterback for the Houston Texans, man, he is not a bad quarterback. I think they really took a hit when Nico went out. And then for some reason, it seemed like Pierce was out for a long time too.
Down the stretch.
Yeah.
They decided to go to the backup, and the backup was all right, but it wasn't Pierce.
Exactly. So, yeah, a win is a win is a win. I don't know which part I was most excited about this game. I don't know if it's the fact that we finally scored on a pick six for the first time since 2019. I don't know if it's the fact that Mac Hollins has asserted himself as a true number 2 or number 3 receiver. Take your pick. I don't know if it's the fact that Josh Jacobs, man, in a contract year is really showing you why the Raiders drafted him number 20, second overall a few years ago.
Fourth.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's because Derek Carr did not have any turnovers, and he really engineered a game plan. I'm not going to get into Patrick Graham because I tweeted yesterday at Shakeback Media Group. That dude is a complete joke to me.
20 points.
Yeah, but it's the Texans. That part of it I can say is the Texans.
20 points.
Okay. Well, yeah, you're right. And I did say let's build on it. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry for digressing. But yeah, I think it was a great victory. The next 3 games of our schedule, really, really favorable. Really favorable
games. Very, very winnable games.
Exactly. We go to New Orleans. The only thing I don't like about that game is that it's a 12 o'clock start, or I guess a 10 o'clock start for y'all, which would be the same thing for the Raiders. I'm not really scared of New Orleans like I once would have been because their quarterback, if it's Jameis Winston, that's who I'm hoping that will play because he's going to throw us the ball.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So yeah, that's where I am on it, man. I'm feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty good about next week and the 2 weeks after that.
What do you think about this identity of the team?
Run the ball. We've been screaming that since the Chargers game. Run the ball. And just because we have Devontae Adams, just because we have Hunter Renfrow, and let me say this. Running the ball, I think, does so much for this offensive line that has had some issues. It does so much more for them in terms of being able to be physical. And when getting James back was just tremendous. Run the ball. We got this dude, Josh Jacobs, man, is like the second coming of Walter Payton almost.
Run the ball. I've been saying you said we've been talking about it since the Chargers. I've been saying it since last year when they were going on the stretch run. Like if you want to minimize turnovers, you want to minimize some of the in-game theatrics, we'll call them, and miscues and series of unfortunate events. So you run the football.
Run the ball.
And Josh Jacobs, the number one skill has been making guys miss. Mm-hmm. He's been running hard, but it's been more making guys miss, not taking hits, and spinning off, getting down, and taking care of his body, all while running harder and faster than I think I've seen him run since he came. He looks like he's back at Bama.
Mm-hmm. Well, and remember at Bama, who was he behind at Bama? Some dude by the name of Derrick Henry, right?
Yep.
Who else was there on that squad in the backfield? Was it
Kenyon Drake?
Kenyon Drake was there. Who else was there? Wasn't it the big dude, Bo
Scarborough?
Bo Scarborough was there.
And I believe somewhere on the bottom of the depth chart there was Najee too.
Najee Harris was there. Shout out to Najee Harris, man. I know he's from the Bay. They having a rough time. They're having a rough time out there in Pittsburgh, but
this to change how they do offense out there. They'd be fine if they are more. Honestly, they could take a page out of what the Raiders is doing now, switch it up to a power scheme with their big ass wide receivers, go play action and start and run something off of that. Instead, they're trying to do this spread shit and it ain't working. But that's the Steelers. We'll talk about them later.
Oh, we ain't got to talk about them at all. This is a Raiders. This is a Raiders show.
Yeah. I'm just saying. Don't think we can't go all 32 teams deep on you. We switch it up in the heartbeat and go all 32 teams deep, but we keep it to the lock right here on the Raiders.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. Have you addressed these comments in the chat? Because it's a lot of them.
Most of them.
Okay.
It appears that we are on to we can win without Waller. Absolutely, you can. You've seen it. You've seen it right here. You can win without Waller. Now the question is, can you win a championship without Waller? And
I
I'll
mean,
tell you that answer is no.
yeah, because he at least one thing that he does bring to the table is making the defense match up against him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you this right now, man. Our offense, the way that we are structured in terms of being able to run the ball, whether it's 22 personnel, 12, 13, whatever the case may be, I love it when we run with the fullback leading the way. But with that being said, and I think I said this on one other show. I got about 600,000 shows, y'all, and I need help. Uh, but I said this I said this on another show, right? The Raiders can, or it may have been this show last week. I don't know, but the Raiders can put Josh Jacobs, Foster Moreau, Darren Waller when he's back, Hunter Renfrow, Devontae Adams, right? They can put all those guys out there and spread the field, and then make the defense look like they're in their base formation. So they're going to bring in their base defense, and next thing you know, you got matchups all over the place that you can take advantage of.
No, you're right. You're right. So, what'd you think about these old little cute trick plays?
I'm always a little nervous when I see trick plays from anybody. The one that they handed off to Josh Jacobs, and then he threw it back to Derek Carr, and then he threw it to Mac Hollins, and Hollins was wide open. Those are the toughest passes to make when a guy is wide open like that. And you could see Derek kind of aim it to Hollins. Not that it was a bad pass, but you could see him aiming it to Collins. And Collins, he's a big dude. I expected him to get as many yak yards as he could, or rack yards. What is it? Yards after catch, yards after reception, whatever you want to call it.
Yards after the catch.
So yeah, I mean, if they have practiced it enough to where, and obviously they did on this particular play, because you don't just come out and just do something like that and then it's an automatic success. I think we got the guys to do it. We really do.
So my thoughts on this, I'm all for razzle dazzle. I love seeing a good trick play that comes out of nowhere. That's like, oh well, I'll be damned. Somebody was in the lab with their thinking cap on late one night and came up with some fire. But when I see what my problem is the execution of razzle dazzle. And if you're gonna pull off some razzle dazzle and a cute trick play, then you got to be giving me something better than 15, 20 yards. I need to see points on the board. But clearly, there is some news that I'm not aware of that you have just received.
Well, I don't know if you haven't received it yet. This is my first time seeing it. In light of us playing the Indianapolis Colts here soon, they've just announced that Sam Ehlinger is going to start for the remainder of the year.
Oh, I didn't see for the year. I knew that I saw that he was gonna be starting.
Frank Reich says the plan is for Ehlinger to start the rest of the season.
Well, best of luck to him.
Well,
Sam Ehlinger's not going to help that line block any better than they haven't been blocking already.
Yeah, but this is we talked about this on a show that I did this morning. The fault of the Colts is not entirely Matt Ryan. You said it just now because I mentioned it then, that the line is not playing to the expectation that they wanted. And Sam Ehlinger, yeah, he's a little bit more mobile. He's actually a lot more mobile than Matt Ryan. And then you just never know when you put in another quarterback like that, it's going to change the culture a little bit. It's going look at what the Commanders did to Green Bay yesterday with Taylor Heineke or Heineke. Heineken, give me a beer, okay? Pass me a beer. So with that being said, I mean, it's something to, I'm not going to say be concerned about because of their O-line, But whenever you put in another quarterback, it just does some sort of injection of some energy that just wasn't there. Now I can tell you right now, Frank Reich, I'm sorry, Ike. Frank Reich is coaching for his job. He is coaching for his job. And then Jonathan Taylor. What do you mean? Wait, what? You play on the team, Jonathan Taylor. Put that comment on the screen, Phil. What,
Many
John?
eyes. Grade 2 shoulder separation, I believe.
Yeah, but that I think that like might be like Carson Wentz. It might be a manufactured injury.
Oh, I'm hurt. Oh, his
Might,
shoulder is never going to be able to be the same. Here, take this money and go sit on the end of the bench and don't say nothing. Remember, you signed the NDA, and we will
yeah,
sue your ass.
yeah. My neck, my neck, and my back.
The jet sweep does that constitute a trick play because that was a good play? No. It's a staple in everybody's offense. It's how they stretch edges, and they did a good job blocking it. You would just like him to get that corner and get outside of I believe that was Miller's block. He set the edge, but I believe when he set it, that Turner couldn't get through it, so he cut it inside.
Mm-hmm.
And if he was able to get to the outside of Miller, he probably scores. But again, that's part of having your guys there. You could have did that with Keelan Cole, because Keelan Cole is a returner as well. He was inactive today because they activated Turner and had Renfro back. I personally think that Keelan Cole should be on this roster every week because his ability to get vertical is something that needs to be maximized. Because I think a lot of the issues that the Raiders are having on offense is due to spacing. Without a vertical guy and without Darren Waller, now you're looking at a congested pack of guys who can double Devontae Adams and try their luck at singling up Hollins and Moreau.
Yeah, I was looking at somebody had said what did they say? They said they don't want to spread, put Renfro, Waller, and whoever else in a bunch. I get that too. I'm just I'm not saying that should be something that we go to, on a basis like the Cincinnati Bengals, or like what the New Orleans Saints used to do, or even there we go right there, or even what the Rams did to a degree last year or the year before that. I'm just saying, in order to further create matchup problems, you give a base look, and then you can actually take advantage of linebackers in space.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I meant by that, Reese Rock, and I appreciate that.
My thing has always been to come in a heavy formation with 3 tight ends and then go spread. Because that way that'll force the defense to adjust, bring more linebackers on the field, and then when you get them out and spread, they won't be able to run with them.
Mm-hmm. Well,
that would be the better use of that particular talent and formation, but we haven't seen that yet.
Do we have a third tight end like that?
Oh, he's a passing, he's a receiving tight end, but you still got to respect it when you got Moreau, Waller, and Horsted out there, that it could very well still be a power run.
So imagine that setup. That's 31 personnel, 3 tight ends, 1 running back. Imagine a scenario where you have Josh Jacobs in the backfield. You have those tight ends wherever on the line that you want. And you have either Mac Hollins and Devontae or Hunter and Devontae. And then you go and lift the leg up and those dudes spread out. Oh, man, that would be dope. That would be dope.
I do this all day.
We're here all week.
I do this all day. I'm like, if you want me to fix your football team, I'm here for you. I tell you exactly what they need to do.
And ladies and gentlemen, let's not get it twisted. Every team can't do that.
No.
Every team cannot do that. There's only a select team. If the Ravens can do it. The Ravens could do it, but their wide receiver room isn't nearly as good as ours. Josh Jacobs is on his Roman Reigns. I don't watch wrestling anymore, but I know who Roman Reigns is, so I don't quite know what he does for him for P Dog 006 to say that.
Oh, double belt Roman, the tribal chief. You better acknowledge him.
Yeah. Okay. No more RPO with Carr. Do we don't really do that though, do we?
That's why they lost against the Chiefs.
Yeah, I don't really. That's not that. And
in order to properly run the RPO, and then the forms of read options that are prevalent in today's NFL, your quarterback has to be a threat to run. And everybody in the whole entire stadium is surprised when Carr pulls it and runs. Everybody's like, "Oh wow, he did it."
Yeah, and he's mobile enough, but he's not a runner. I mean, he'll take off and run. He did that in the Chiefs game, and he did that in the
Now he'd be, and I'll give Miss props for that. That a lot of that was the runs he did in the Chiefs game. I was like, okay, he didn't drop the. He looked like he was running out of bounds. No, he dropped the shoulder and took it upfield. Brought a tear to my eye.
Yeah, no doubt. But I mean, the way that the personnel is set up for us, I think Josh McDaniels, who really is, sometimes he tries to outsmart himself, in my opinion. If I, as a Pop Warner offensive coordinator, can recognize the things that I have on my team, I'm coaching 7-8-year-olds, Phil, and I'm putting them in 5 wide because I knew what we had. We had a lot of speed. I mean, our quarterback couldn't throw worth a damn.
I mean, I was just getting ready to say I'm a 7-8. I'm not. My man ain't got the arm for 5 wide, but all right.
Well, I shouldn't even say that my quarterback couldn't. My quarterback could actually throw, but he made very bad decisions. So we had another quarterback that could throw just as good as he could, and we would bring him in motion, right? Bring him in motion, hand him the ball behind him, and then he would throw the ball. So, because one of them could throw it really good and could make decisions, and the other one could throw it really, really good, but couldn't make any decisions. And also, he could never remember the snap count.
The joys of Pop Warner.
Yeah. So anyway,
coaching the kids, just sitting there like.
Hey, I appreciate the shout out. How do you say that? Egalitarian?
EG is what we call him.
EG 207, man. I appreciate the shout out. Phil, I'm gonna need you to do me a favor, man. I'm gonna need you to go out there to the and put my social media, my Facebook page, my YouTube channel in the chat. So I need everybody to go and subscribe to it. That would be dope. I can send it to you if you need me to. But yeah, while you do that,
just put it in the private chat. I'll post it.
Oh yeah. Okay. So with that being said, yo, I love what we did yesterday. I wouldn't say that it saved our season. What I will tell you is that injection of it seemed like we had a lot more energy, particularly on offense, and then there in the fourth quarter on defense. Oh my gosh, on defense, with the pick six, I think I was more excited about the pick six than I was anything else.
Absolutely. I mean, how could you not be? How could you not be more excited with the pick six? That was a big time play right there. That play iced the game. And for all that we've been talking about, the defense didn't do, all that they should have done. You were just talking about how you got a problem with Patrick Graham. The defense finished the game off.
Yeah, they did.
That was how you started the show off, talking about how you got a problem with Patrick Graham. The defense finished the game, iced them with a pick six, held Houston to 20, and that ain't enough goddamn shit for them to do. I mean, what fucking more do you want from the goddamn defense? What else can they do?
You're right. And I might be holding a grudge from the Kansas City game. And that's probably what I'm doing. And I shouldn't do that
They
because
got off the field too. And against Kansas City, the offense had a chance to go down, drive, and be the hero. And they shoot down their way.
You're right, man. Thank you for keeping me straight, bro. I need that. I needed that. But yeah. Well, I mean, I put it out there for you to share in the chat.
There it is.
There it is. I really, really will appreciate if you guys can go out there and hit that sub button for me. You don't have to give me any money to help me get out of corporate America. All you really have to do is click that link and hit the sub button and hit the bell. I will take it from there. I promise you.
That's all. Just need some subscriptions. That helps us out.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm sorry I was late, man, and I know we were supposed to do this for an hour. I blame that on corporate America again, and I really wanted to come on at 1:00 because I now got to get ready for another meeting that's at 2:30. So, yeah, thank you guys in the chat. Please go and hit the subscribe button. That would help me and Phil out tremendously.
Yes, sir. So that's what so are you cool to hang out? You got some place to be. You said you had to go get ready for another meeting.
Yeah, and in 20 minutes I gotta get ready for them. I gotta get ready for the meeting that's in 20 minutes. Yeah. So yeah.
Awful.
Yeah. So, but we'll be back next Monday if the Lord says the same. And hopefully
hold on, play. This ain't that show. This is my show.
Huh?
Yeah, this ain't that show. This ain't the Raiders Weekly, homie. This is my show.
Okay, well, whatever.
We'll be back later this week. We'll be back tomorrow.
Oh, well, whatever the case may be, then heck yeah. Sub up, you sound like my old deacon. Jonathan Taylor, let me tell you a story about that.
Let me tell you something about the book of Genesis and Revelations about how I'm finna school your ass, son.
Sub up. You sound like my old deacon. Number one, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. And since you say I sound like your old deacon, I'm gonna sound like your new deacon because I am a deacon in my church. So with that being said, I gotta bounce, man. Phil, I appreciate it, man. I'll talk to you soon, man. Y'all be good out there.
All right. So the fabulous Willie. That part, yes, I agree. That part. So the announcer Greg Gumbel said it best yesterday. This team went from losing by 5, then 3, then 2, and 1 by KC. I mean, they're moving. They're making moves in the positive direction, right? What more can you ask for? If JJ continues this trajectory, how much money do you commit to him? Because I wasn't expecting him to be this good, but what are we willing to pay him? How much do we invest in defense over O-line this year? Woo! Now, that, sir, is. Let me leave that up. Hold on. That is an excellent question because the reality is that if they don't pay him now, from this point on in the season, that number is going to continue to go up, and so it becomes now you have the interesting. Let's play the can he stay healthy. The stay healthy game so that I want to make sure that he gets through this entire season before we pay him. And we end up like a situation where you give a guy all this money and then he suddenly can't play for a year or get suspended or some other things. Now, that's not what Josh Jacobs is about. And as I said earlier, his running style is in order to take care of his body and the football so that he can continue to be available for all 17 plus games. So, and right now I put his number at right now he's sitting at about 10 to 12 plus incentives right now. That's where he's at. The last 2 weeks, he's averaging 7+ yards per carry. That is something that you have to pay. He can catch out of the backfield. He can block. He's a leader. He's carrying the team, and he's putting the work in Monday through Saturday, which is what Ziegler said. So you have to pay Josh Jacobs and pay him his money. Now, in terms of O-line, this O-line is in a good spot. They're playing. They continue to get better. They're playing well. Believe Andre James is up for free agency this year, but you're in a situation where you've got plenty of options. There's a lot of things you can do. You can continue to draft guys, because obviously the key to franchise development is get maximizing production on rookie deals. We can extend now while the extending is good. Salute, Rob. 10. I thought that was the 5th-year option, and at that time I wasn't ready to pay that, but he's got to pay that. Said, well, that comes back to what's available, what you do with the rest of the budget. Now, there's some things that I believe can be done, but it's interesting to see what they want to do. And what I really think they're going to do is they're going to give Josh a signing bonus of somewhere around $20+ million and give it to him up front. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see. I'm pretty sure that too was over a couple years ago. Anyway, so I'm sitting here looking this Andre James contract up for hoops and giggles. Oh yeah, no, yeah, he's under contract for a cool one. Yeah, so he's not going anywhere. So yeah, that offensive line is nice and cheap and overperforming. And you've got a guy on a rookie deal who's looking to come in and probably be your starter moving forward, because you're looking at next season battling between Brandon Parker and Thayer Munford. Said Dylan looks to be your guy at right guard. So far, Alex Bars is doing good things at the left. Cole Miller's not going anywhere. James is under contract. So really, you really don't need anything besides maybe you can get better at left guard. Said yes, Bars is doing well, but you can get better in terms of pass protection. That's probably where you're going to look to improve, is get slightly better pass protection. So from there, you really need to just address the defensive line, and I think you'll be fine with that. A lot of people want to get the edge rushers. I've seen Burns, I've seen Quinn, I've seen the more pass rushers, the merrier. The pass rush needs to come from the center of the defensive line. That's what's going to have the most impact, not the edge. You have 2 edge rushers. You got a backup edge rusher. You got an edge rusher and Tayshawn Bauer that'll be good if you give him the opportunity to play. But if you give those pass rushers a premium defensive talent pass rusher in the middle that's capable of collapsing the pocket and forcing the quarterback into one of your pass rushers, now you've got something completely different and a much larger impact than having a sexy edge rusher that you got to pay premium dollars to. Bruh, you're going to continue to hate on the offensive line until you don't. So at this point, just keep it up and don't change it. Just keep hating. Keep it strong. Anyway, so that's an hour, 14 minutes with you guys from this morning. I appreciate everybody who showed up. Thank you for your time. Thank you for joining me on the Unfiltered Truth Please like, subscribe, tell a friend. Help us continue to grow. So, like my man said, I want to be able to be here to give you premium content every morning, every day. But sometimes life gets in the way. Most of the time in corporate America, really is not for all of us. But without further ado, thank you again. Tune in, look for the Raiders Weekly. We'll be recording that probably in the next day or two. So we'll get that up. We'll recap this with Willie, myself, and Stephen Michaels. Then we'll look forward to the game against the Saints. But for now, catch you later. And again, thank you all for joining me.